well, once I'm clear, I won't have any homosexual thoughts. I said, so you went to the class today, and from the class you came to my house. We worked at Sears in the ladies' lingerie department. In like conversion therapy, well, it clearly wasn't working. Trying to sell Steve the same sort of thing, but they're gonna de-gay him. Mine get an A+ in the sex department. Hi everybody, this is Steve's channel.
Mangotology.
And I decided to tell a story of an experience I had many years ago. I was in law school in my 3rd year, and I had just for the first time run and completed the Los Angeles Marathon. So I was feeling, how can I put it, very pleased with myself and rather dashing and attractive, if I might say, and a good catch. So I went to a bar the next night because I couldn't really walk the day of the marathon after it was over. I took to my bed. Now I'm about 27 years old, I want to say. I go to a place the next night called the Apache, which was a bar in Studio City. It's not there anymore. It was known for having a certain, when I drank, beer bust on either a Monday night or a Tuesday night, I can't remember which. So I went, and I went by myself, frankly, in order to try to hook up. And I was standing there and I was drinking my beer, and all of a sudden this kid, I say kid, I'm 27, he's probably 23 or 24 or something like that, approaches me and is obviously interested. One very intellectual, deep conversation after another occurs, and then we go back to my place. So he spent the night, blah, 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 yada, 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 and he wanted to see me again. I told him I'd like to, but I'm in law school. I was putting myself through law school at night, so I worked during the day. I went to class at night, and then I studied late at night, and sometimes I would try to run for marathon training in between, though I was giving myself a couple weeks to recover from the first marathon. Maybe a month or two went by, probably 2 months, and maybe I had just taken finals or something like that, so I finally had time, and I called him, and he was very eager to come over. And I remember he had some god-awful 1975 Monaco, which barely ran. It used about 4 gallons to the mile. He came over, and you know, I don't need to go into the details. I don't think you can use your imagination. And then the next time he came over, maybe that summer, it was the weekend, and he said he was at some place and would be coming from some class or meeting that he had. Got to my place, I noticed he had something, Dianetics or Church of Scientology material. And I said, what's that? Because I really didn't know anything about the church at that point. I saw some of these people giving personality tests. My mother had a friend who was a Scientologist who was very daffy and wacky and kooky. So that was kind of the lens that I had on it. And I said, oh, what are you taking the classes for? And he looked at me earnestly. And he said, well, they believe they can make my brain clear. And I said, okay, and then what happens then? Well, once I'm clear, I won't have any homosexual thoughts. I said, so you went to the class today, and from the class you came to my house. Yes, that was the situation. So I continued to see him for another year and a half, 2 years, on and off, casual sort of thing, maybe once every 2 or 3 months. And he still was into this Scientology thing, and I just couldn't get over the fact that he was going to some class to, basically to me it seemed like conversion therapy. Well, it clearly wasn't working. So he was continuing to take these classes, and I probably saw him on and off for, I don't know, another year, year and a half. And it was a sort of every 2 or 3 months kind of thing. And I don't know, even, you know, those days and up until I got married, I was the type that would take you out to dinner before the hookup. I don't know whether that's sort of a weird version of old-fashioned or not, but I remember he was just so enamored of me and clearly smitten, and sort of, it was a sort of sad sack quality to him, where he just thought it was incredibly romantic that I took him out for dinner at this place called Cafe Kafka, which is not there anymore. It's been leveled in the revitalization of Hollywood. But it was some, you know, hole in the wall, and yeah, they had a candle or a votive on the table, and it wasn't really romantic from my point of view. It's just, you know, treating another human being respectfully, as you would want to be treated. I honestly think that's why I'm not screwed up sexually, is because my parents were really, I mean, for all the complaints we have about our parents, mine get an A+ in the sex department. They never wagged their finger and said it's dirty, it's bad, it's this and that. They said, you know what, you don't have to marry the person, have fun, but treat them with respect and the way you would want to be treated. And so that's kind of all I was doing, but I guess that to someone else seems like I'm really into them when I'm taking them out for dinner before we hook up. So anyway, he would continue to take these classes, and I don't know whether he was getting auditing or whether he was attending the classes. I suspect he was just attending the classes because he didn't have a pot to piss in. And so he must have been taking the low-level, cheap courses, but they told him whatever that, to me, I interpreted it from how he explained it as that it was kind of a conversion therapy sort of thing. And he would say, oh, you know, it's so convenient. I lived in an apartment on Canyon Drive, in between Hollywood Boulevard and Franklin, when I was in law school at this time. And that is, I'm not kidding, a block and a half away from what I thought was this charming hotel that some group or organization or other had renovated. Well, that's the Celebrity Center. And he said, you know, it's so convenient that he could come over to my apartment after taking his classes at Scientology, and because they were giving him the conversion therapy. And I said, well, clearly it ain't working. Otherwise you wouldn't be here every 2 months, okay? You know, like these things do, the relationship fizzled out. I almost said petered out, but I didn't want to make too bad of a pun. Fizzled out, and I don't know what happened to him. I know that he had moved to Los Angeles to get away from his very glamorous job in the coffee shop at the Holiday Inn Boardwalk in Las Vegas, which is also not there anymore. It's been torn down, and I think the Monte Carlo replaced it. But he worked in the coffee shop, and then he met some older man who brought him here, and they started to hook up and have a relationship, but they both kind of were over it quickly, and the guy was decent and let him live there rent-free, without any expectation of any services to be rendered. But sounded like a decent guy, so that this kid could go to school, and he worked at Sears in the ladies' lingerie department, which I thought was kind of weird. And so I don't know whatever happened to him, but I can tell you the conversion therapy, that did not have its desired goal or effect. So the point of the story was not just some salacious, titillating gossip, but rather the fact that it, to me, look, I've been openly gay with my family since the year dot. So to me, it's just very sad that someone is sold a bill of goods, whether it's these nutballs, Michelle Bachmann's husband, who runs a conversion therapy organization, or Scientology, who make these promises about getting you clear and erasing your desire for same-sex experiences. It's simply an innate part of who you are, and if you don't understand the science behind it, the hypothalamus gland theory, the issues of how it's certainly not a choice. If it were a choice, there's many people who, gay youth who've committed suicide, if they had a choice, they would have chosen something else. Mel White, who was the right-hand man to Jerry Falwell, wrote a very searing book whose title I can't recall right now, but it was his experience coming out and how it isn't a choice. So these people that are selling this snake oil is maddening, and it's sad for the person who's being flim-flammed. And now, of course, you can understand why when I met Steve, and he kept the Scientology very quiet. I think I've said before, on one of our first dates, we were talking about religion, and I told him my religion. I was an Episcopalian, and what religion are you? Well, I'm involved. I'm exploring several different religions. Oh, okay. Well, such as what? Well, Buddhism. Oh, well, that's cool. Buddhism's cool. And Scientology. Yes, the Scientology, you know, my hackles got raised because, of course, I remembered this kid and what they said and sold him a bill of goods. And now I know that Scientology's part and parcel behind Proposition 8 to ban gay marriage. And I didn't know, whether they trying to sell Steve the same sort of thing? Are we going to have the same situation where he's coming from class to hook up, but they're going to de-gay him? And so I was really concerned about that. It really was more that he was in denial about the fact that they were behind Proposition 8 and that they didn't have anything to do with it. So it just was kind of a flashback for me to see whether this new person, Steve, has echoes of what was going on 25 years ago. So that's the end of this story.
No, you just say this. If you like videos like this, please make sure you click the subscribe button down below. If you like videos like this, you can go to suppressivemerchandise.com, get a Suppressive Person t-shirt. You can go to patreon.com/StephenMango if you'd like to leave a donation for the channel so we can make more videos such as this. Thanks so much. Have a good day, sort of thing.
All right, now I believe is the requisite information I have to give you, which is that if you liked videos like this, you kindly will click the subscribe button below. If you would like to support the work of Mr. Mango in making videos and exposing Scientology, you may kindly are invited to visit his Patreon page. And there's also the suppressive merchandise available. My favorite, of course, is the Do I Look Brainwashed to You?, which Steve says during the My Scientology movie. And so thank you for your time and attention, and please keep watching.